Well, the number 1 for Japan is a very familiar figure. It's Yoshikatsu Kawaguchi. And what an evening it will be for that young man. He turns 26 years of age today, and this is also his 50th cap, so a marvellous night for him. Japan will play their familiar 3-5-2 formation with the back three of Nakata, Morioka and Matsuda, the 3 main defenders in the recent Confederations Cup. No place, surprisingly perhaps, for the outstanding Nakamura on the left of midfield. He is on the bench tonight, but the front 2 will be Yawa Gisawa and Suzuki, 2 very familiar and very talented striking pair. Number of players missing for Japan, as with Australia, as we take a look at the Socceroo lineup. Jason Petkovic in goal, though he hasn't played a football game since the first week in June when Perth Glory played the Knights in the NSL playoffs. Fausto Diamicis came straight from England, where he's been trialling with Huddersfield Town, to make this lineup. It's a real chance for Steve Labert in the centre of defence to restake his claim for a place in the final World Cup squad, with Steve Corica playing on the right-hand side of midfield tonight. He's based in Japan, so a lot of attention pre-game on him. So 2 players. Kawaguchi made captain for the night because of the occasion for him, and also Steve Horvath in the absence of Paul Ocon. It's an incredibly proud moment for the Melbourne boy, I'm sure. This is Horvath's 26th international for Australia. It's the disappointed Nakamura on the bench there. Current J-League Player of the Year overlooked, and he doesn't look too happy about it, does it? Well, Japan are really buoyant after the great success of the Confederation Cup tournament, when Philippe Troussier, the French coach with the glasses there, took them to the final. They were beaten by France by a 0-0. That was around 6 weeks ago. They've since played 2 other games, beating Paraguay and Yugoslavia in the Kirin Cup, 2-0 on both of those matches. So they really are a side that is quite buoyant and optimistic about the coming 12 months. The Japanese team go into the familiar huddle. Must have been tempting for Philippe Troussier to experiment with his lineup, but he has pretty much kept with the strongest team that he possibly could. Several of his top names that are currently playing in Europe are missing. Apart from that, this is a very strong and talented lineup. And it's Japan to kick off. A very tricky task for the Australian team tonight. A squad that has been pulled together from far and wide with severely hampered preparation. The very humid conditions may take its toll on a squad with a real mixed bag of fitness as well. And not to mention the fact that there's 50,000 fans in this stadium. It's an absolute sellout. The tickets were sold within 3 days. And it's a crowd with very little empathy indeed whatsoever for anything that's green and gold. So a test for Frank Farina as Nakata plays it forward from the back. That's Suzuki, the blonde in the Japanese team. Corica takes over and skips inside a couple of players. Australia give the ball away. Suzuki takes over and is fouled. The AFC-OFC Challenge Cup is a vision that could see this match being an annual affair. The idea is for it to be a home and away series, but at least this year anyway, it's just this solitary game. Mark Robinson and Casey Weirman in the centre of the Australian midfield tonight. Strict instructions from coach Frank Farina not to venture too far forward in the opening 15 or 20 minutes, both to play a holding role. once Australia settle into the game, it will be Robertson that will be sitting deep, and Wehrman that will be pushing on, if at all possible. So Diamichis to take the free kick. Chipperfield hugging the touchline, wide on the left-hand side. Corica pushing forward on the right-hand side to join Aloisi and Drilic in attack. And that's a nice turn there from Morishima. There he is again. Nakata. Clear out wide. And a long, deep ball aimed for Suzuki. Great try. Well, Steve Labert's first taste of marking his opponent tonight, Suzuki. He's very mobile. He lost Labert there, stayed on side as well. Japan appealing for a corner. Labert backpedaling. He might just have got a touch then, Steve Labert, as well. That's Takayaki Suzuki. This is just his 7th international game, but he's seen very much as the future of Japanese football. Matsuda. Space on the right-hand side for Luke Casserly getting forward. That's a deep cross. A good ball in. Kawaguchi came off his goal line. A round of applause throughout the stadium here. It's known as the EPCO Stadium. Purpose-built venue for the 2002 World Cup, used in the Confederations Cup. Hasn't had too much activity since then. It's just absolutely beautiful. The surface is excellent. The high-tech stadia, as you would expect in this country, is first class. It's gone out for a goal kick. Chasing down the left-hand side there was Yanagisawa. Jason Petkovic, who hasn't played for Australia since 1998 when he played against the United States in November. Been out of the international picture, really. Even his brother Michael Petkovic has played international football since then, but Frank Farina called on his experience. Suzuki. That's a wild one. Chipperfield thought about chasing hard, but decided to leave it. Hato is the number 21 who'll play on the right-hand side of midfield. Well, all of a sudden the band have stopped playing and the silence around the stadium is quite astonishing. That's Morioka to Matsuda. Down the line, Matsuda looking for Hato. So the midfield for Australia is Scott Chipperfield on the left-hand side, Mark Robertson, Casey Wehrman in the centre, Steve Corica wide on the right. John Aloisi came an awfully long way with a roundabout route from Spain, his new club, Osasuna, to take part in this game. He was only released by his club under the strict understanding that Soccer Australia would have him back in Spain by a certain time to take part in the tournament this weekend. Labert just calmly plays that wide to Diamichis. He's got a little bit more space. That's a good ball. The flag stays down. This is Drilic. Well, smiles from the goalkeeper, but he must have been disappointed with the way David Drilic just waltzed through the Japanese defence there. This Australian side has come into this game just a little unsure of itself, a little unfamiliar and a little underprepared. That will give them a real shot in the arm. Labert playing it hard into the feet of Robertson, and gets the ball back. ball. Aloisi with a little layoff. Australia, I must say, have started very competently. Early switch to Diamichis. He's closed down quickly, but he plays it on quickly. That's a good idea. Chipperfield, the paciest player probably within the Australian ranks, and Diamichis wins it back. He's been involved pretty heavily and done some good things. Little ball over the top again, trying to catch Japan out, but not this time. Morioka is a very accomplished defender. This is the earlier attack. Diamichis with a clever ball just into the space, a diagonal run of Drulic. He had a lot of time to take the shot. Struck it sweetly. It's a fairly comfortable save, really, for Kawaguchi. Minutes gone here in Japan. It's still Japan 0, Australia 0. Well, it's a dangerous ball, but well cut out at the front post by the new Australian captain, Steve Horvath. Frank Farina said his main task in a situation such as this, when they hasn't had a lot of time to work with the team, is merely just to refresh them when they arrive. They've just been having the one training session a day. Castle and Casey Weirman only arrived last night, less than 24 hours before the kickoff, so they've had one brief session with the full squad. To Matsuda. Suzuki. It's well read by Labert, and Diamichis has a chance to play Australia forward. It was a risky ball and he's given it away. It's a dangerous situation as Japan come forward. It's touched back to Petkovic, who's got time. Traditionally, in Japan, very sharp, very fast. The side no different, and mistakes in your own third could be punished. Robertson to Labert. Frank Farina, I'm sure, will have one eye on the World Cup qualifiers in South America this week. The news overnight was that Uruguay were beaten. Brazil played Paraguay in the next 24 hours or so. It's Australia coming forward with a deep cross from Castle and Aloisi. Well, he got head to the ball. It was just a little bit too high to generate any power. But once again, a great move by Australia. Castle involved with the cross at the end. Corica the layoff, Castle getting forward. Good ball, deep ball. Aloisi waiting for it, just trying to knot it back to Drulic, I think. He's never going to beat the goalkeeper. Good leap, but not quite directed enough. It's a great layoff, Chipperfield. Diamichis showing that he's willing to get forward down the left, as we just saw Castle on the right. The little ball is aimed for the run of Aloisi. Easily cut out at the back by Nakata. That's Koji Nakata, not Hidetoshi Nakata, the former Roma and now Parma midfielder.
was
Hidetoshi Nakata that scored the winning goal for Japan against Australia in the semi-final of the Confederations Cup. A deflected free kick on an extraordinarily rainy night, and Japan won by a goal to nil. That's a great idea. Chipperfield chasing hard, and well, he was touching his opponent, and the referee deemed him to be fouling his opponent. Number 4 for Japan is Morioka, who is tipped to be the World Cup captain next year. Philippe Troussier has rotated his captaincy since he took over in September in 1998. So the Japanese media are still guessing on who will lead the team for the World Cup. '17 is Kazuyuki Toda. So Castle in some space down the right-hand side. Again looking for the deep ball. This time is Drilic at the back of it. Well, he's appealing for a corner. Well, not dissimilar to the goal that David Drilic scored against Scotland when it came from a deep cross like that. Drilic made his way through the centre. The Japanese marking a little bit better than the Scottish marking on this occasion, but it is a corner. Coming off the back of the Japanese number 3 Matsuda. A set piece which Castle will take, and an opportunity perhaps for Australia with Horvath forward, the number 4, and laboured as well. Suzuki. He was fouled. The only player in the Australian squad not considered tonight was Paul Reed, who strained his quad muscle at training yesterday. There were 7 substitutes on the bench. The rules of the tournament are fairly straightforward, only 3 substitutes allowed for either side. And if it's level at 90 minutes, it will go into goal-to-goal extra time, and then penalties if it's still a draw at the end of 120 minutes. Drilic turns. It's a nice ball to Aloisi inside. A sharp layoff from him. Corica trying to play it back early to Aloisi, who continued his run through the centre. More room for Australia to get forward here. Castle, Drilic. A tiny layoff. It's allowed Japan to come forward. They're sharp on the ground, so you can see it clearly. Yanagisua at least a metre offside. Labor wisely let the runner run behind him. This time Suzuki hasn't got a marker as he comes short to the ball. That's a nice layoff as well. Wanashima into the area, good idea. Great defending that by Horvath. Brilliant anticipation by the captain. Australia have started very well in this game, but Japan are just starting to warm to their task, and you saw Philippe Troussier signalled straight to the bench after that last attack. The player warming up there was Miyamoto. Perhaps an early substitution for Japan. Castle trying to measure the pass. Frank Farina making it very clear to this particular squad that it's a real opportunity to press a claim to be in the World Cup squad for the games coming up in November against France, the world champions. 2 World Cup games. It's only 3 months away now. That's a deep cross. Suzuki underneath it, but the flag's up for offside. He did receive some disappointing news just yesterday. Frank Farina at a teleconference with all the Australian media that Craig Moore is injured himself and he'll be out of action for at least 5 to 6 weeks. As Aloisi puts one into the near post, Drilic aiming to get on the end of the cross. But injuries such as that does open the door for other players. Tony Popovic also missing from this match because of work permit problems in his hopeful transfer to Crystal Palace of England. So Steve Labert and Steve Horvath immediately step into the breach. Saudi Arabia in the Asian Cup final. Australia beat New Zealand in the Oceania Cup final. That was just over a year ago in Tahiti. So that's how it comes about that Japan and Australia are fighting out this first Challenge Cup between Asia and Oceania. That's a clever ball. Coming across as Labour. That's brilliantly done. Pekovic, the opening goal. And that was delightfully played by Japan, with Morishima doing the damage down the right-hand side, and tapping in the finish was Yanagisua. That's his 7th international goal in 19 appearances. And the first time Japan have looked like stretching Australia, they get a goal. That was a brilliant touch there by Morishima, just getting to the ball before Labour. Petkovic was committed. There was a player on the goal line in Cassidy, but that touch there really made the goal for Japan. He picked out Yanagisua at the back post, and a simple goal for a striker of his calibre, and that's 1-0. Immediately, as you can hear, the crowd has stepped up their celebrations and their chants once again. Incredibly enthusiastic Japanese crowds. Morishima again involved. This time it was cut out. Labour, that's nicely played as he continues forward, the big defender. And we're really for him to go. He's looking for options, and he finds Cassidy out wide on the right. Corica. Demichis keeps it in. He launches one forward. That's easily cut out by Morioka. Well, Frank Farina will be disappointed to concede a goal after such a solid start to the game. Corica protects the ball well with his body. Horvath. Robertson goes short. Time Horvath goes long, and that's flicked on. Aloisi looking to chase, but it's well read by Matsuda, who came in from his position on the right-hand side of the defence just to cover Morioka. This back three for Japan have played a lot of games together now. Matsuda. Morishima closed down quickly. Space on the left for Nakata. Oh, that's a lovely play. And an early cross in, well cut out at the front post by Horvath. Suzuki now. Well, Luke Casserly beaten there. As we take another look at the goal, Morishima, a run forward from midfield. He's certainly a midfielder with an eye for goal himself, but this time he just unselfishly played it across. Three minutes gone now. Japan 1 goal up. No one chasing that one for Australia. First time these two sides met was way back in March in 1968. It was a 2-2 draw in Sydney. Johnny Warren played that day, and the goalkeeper for the Socceroos was Ron Corrie, the Wollongong Wolves grand final winning coach. When these two sides did meet in the Confederation Cup semi-final, it was a match which Australia really dominated. They were totally in control for at least 80 to 90% of the game. Just couldn't find a way through. So Horvath launches the free kick. Aloisi looking to get on the end of it, but Morioka was there. This is Weirman with an early ball out to Diamichis. Chipperfield was offside. May not have been Chipperfield, it may have been one of the players in the centre, where Drilic and Aloisi were as well. But he's won over the hearts of the Japanese fans. Philippe Troussier, the former coach of South Africa in the 1998 World Cup. Go the fans again. Suzuki beaten by Horvath. Mr. Diamichis has been in England for most of the Australian off-season anyway. Been trialling at Huddersfield Town for 3 weeks, waiting to hear if they're prepared to offer a contract or not. And as Japan come forward again, there's two players waiting in the centre. It's a corner for Japan. Hattori will go across to take it. It's an unusual corner, almost going back to near the halfway line, but a deep cross. It's a roundabout route for Japan. Didn't catch Australia out as Labour plays it forward. Drilic trying to get Chipperfield into the game. He's had a quiet start to the match. Scott Chipperfield, the current Australian Player of the Year, scored his first goal for his new club in Europe, FC Basel, in the Swiss League. He scored on the weekend to get off the mark. Been playing regularly in the first team since he transferred there just prior to June. It's a nice switch by Labour for Casserly. He keeps it in. Corica. It's an Australian throw-in. Steve Corica's instructions tonight are to very much stay wide as much as he possibly can when Australia are moving forward in attack, but if the attack is right on the opposite side of the ground, he has a license to roam forward free. And Australia forward here. A played across, no one in the centre. And case in point as Corica moved inside to get involved in that move. Aloisi, great ball, threaded it through several players. Still not sure whether that was a shot or a cross. It's on. Drilic got there first. lot of room to move there. And Japan struggling to keep the ball with so many green and gold shirts around them as well. Perhaps now a time for a switch. There's Casserly. Early ball, it's a very good one indeed. And just taken off the toes there of Yanagisua. And I'm not sure what the referee has given here. Well, it's definitely not a penalty. He's given the back pass rule, I'd say, as the ball came through. Yanagisua was just stole behind Horvath, but Labert came in and played it back there, and Petkovic touched the ball with his hands, and he deemed that a back pass, an intentional back pass. So it's an indirect free kick in the Australian penalty area. Every player behind the ball for Australia. That's at a quick count, it looks like an 8-man wall with the goalkeeper behind. So Suzuki, the blonde, on the left-hand side of the screen, perhaps the most likely to take a shot here. One Japanese player in the wall, and it's laid deep, and it's deflected, and Australia will save the shot on goal. It's amazing how often those opportunities don't reap the reward that the attacking team would like. It's not as easy as it looks to find a goal from that situation, with the angle cut down. As Chipperfield runs at his opponent for the first time in the game. Bouncing ball, there's a dangerous one. Gisua couldn't get there, Chipperfield knocks it long. Aloisi, a tidy layoff from him. Continues his run forward down the left as Australia go to the right. Casserly. Labert again switching nicely to Luke Casserly, who's based in Sweden these days with AIK Solna. Played 90 minutes, in fact, on just Sunday, 3 days ago, for Solna. Hopped on a plane for probably a trip of around 20 hours or so and arrived just last night. It's a nice play from Weirman. Thought about going long. Just past the half-hour mark at Shizuoka. Japan 1, Australia 0. Australia come into this game having won their last 3 matches, 2 against New Zealand in the World Cup qualifiers. It was 4-1 in Sydney, 2-0 in Wellington. And the victory before that was actually in Korea. It was against Brazil. 3rd place at the Confederations Cup. Sean Murphy, the goal scorer that day. Surging run forward, a nice little layoff, a clever move by Japan. Not a great headed clearance. They take up possession once again, and a shot at goal was a great try. Trying to catch Jason Petkovic out was Yasuhiro Hato. Surprised the goalkeeper, but Petkovic had his positioning down pat, so pulled off the save. The assistant just called the referee over there to alert him to something off the ball. Let's see if he goes to any particular player. I don't think so. I think he's just going to play on. his footwear, but everything okay now. An early ball in from Morioka. Great ball! Suzuki onside. At full stretch to reach the header. Well, the short corner went wrong really when the cross was blocked, but it fell nicely for Morioka. Great cross by him. First time ball to the back post, and Suzuki on the stretch. Shima peeling away was Yanagisua, free on the right hand side. Japan have players in the centre, but well closed down. So Japan have taken over from the Socceroos in this game. They are now running the show. In tons of space. Suzuki again trying to go through, and he was tackled just a little bit late. The ball was well and truly gone. Not sure whether it was intentional, just the run that Suzuki was making forward after he played the ball. The leg went up from lay, but it was one of those innocuous ones that can go either way. So Matsuda's getting a little bit of treatment, while Philippe Troussier, the Japanese coach, is just watching very closely. He's right at the edge of the coach's area, which is a marked zone in front of the benches. There was an almost identical situation to this that Japan scored against Australia in the Confederations Cup semi-final. And it's curled over the bar. Well, Hattori had the crowd going up. We'll see just how far away it was. Well over the bar, really. Very much a mixed bag fitness-wise, this Australian team. Some of the players are in mid-season in Europe, players playing in Scandinavia like Cassidy and Weirman, and Robertson in Scotland as well. Some of them are in pre-season, the players based in England. And most of the Australian-based players are either in the off-season or they've just started perhaps a week's pre-season training. 3 Australian-based players in this starting 11. Horika on the ball. He's based in Japan, of course. The Japanese season has just started the second stage. Horika again. Players waiting in the centre. Couldn't get the cross in. Now Japan on the counter-attack with plenty of Australian bodies committed forward. Suzuki goes short. What's on down the left-hand side, but Australia now have men behind the ball. Suzuki again, coming even deeper. That's a nice layup from Morishima. This is Hato. Suzuki's going outside him. No real room to get the cross in. Now it comes. Just on 8.5 minutes to go until the half-time break. Ryoka to Nakata. It's a clever ball. Good shot! Side netting. Great service for Yanagisua. took the shot like a real striker as well on the turn. First time threaded through by Hattori. And Pekovic had the near post well and truly covered, to his credit. More evidence that Japan are well and truly in their comfort zone in this game so far. Casey Wehrman, who turns 24 years of age tomorrow. Tough time in the centre of midfield. It's the defence has to work overtime here. It's a corner to Japan, as all of a sudden Yanagisawa is taking control of the game. Certainly the opportunities are falling his way rather than to Suzuki. Hato goes across to take the corner. And Robertson, the number 15 there, had a tough time of it in his international debut. Well, it's a free header straight to the goalkeeper. Who else would it be? Yanagisawa. Well, concerned about the marking there. Yanagisawa, no one jumping against him. He did move off his marker very sharply though. So another Japanese free kick taken short. Some movement, goes all the way back to Nakata, even further back to Morioka, trying to draw the Australians out just a little bit. They're defending very deeply, the Socceroos, denying the Japanese players space behind the back four. So the cross comes in instead, it's flicked on. Suzuki can't get to that. An Australian throw-in on the far side. And all of a sudden we have silence once again. It's an Australian free kick. No qualification process for the hosts, of course. Japan will have a preparation full of a long line of friendly tournaments and one-off friendly internationals. You would expect, with the reputation for thoroughness that the Japanese have, that it will be a no expense spared preparation for their team. Seen as a real opportunity for football to take over from baseball as the #1 sport in Japan. And it's fallen nicely for Drilic. It was a side-footed effort from him. And Australia coming forward, haven't done that too often in this first half, and Drilic has fouled. And it's going to be a yellow card, the first of the game for Morioka. A chance now for Australia to do something from the set piece. Their traditional, I say traditional, but their more recent free kick specialists, Stan Lazaridis, Josip Skoko, not here at the moment, but Casey Wehrman may fancy his chances. Perhaps also Steve Corica. I thought John Aloisi may put his hand up as well, but he's not near the ball at the moment. So Corica is. Wehrman walks away. It looks like it's been left to the Australian number 10. 5 goals this season so far for Steve Corica in the J-League as he curls it. straight at Kawaguchi. Steve Corica's first international goal was against Japan back in 1995 in a 2-1 victory. Steve Horvath also played in that game. He's got 5 international goals as well as 5 goals in the J-League so far this season. Chipperfield cutting inside. Now waiting for a run. Came from David Strilic. It was hard to find him though. Suzuki this time doesn't control the ball, and Horvath takes advantage of that. Steve Horvath came on as a sub versus New Zealand in the second leg of the World Cup qualifiers. That was about 7 weeks ago. And since then he's had about 1 week's training, so will he be feeling the pinch in these humid conditions in the second half? We'll have to see. It's about 80% humidity here. Hato will take the free kick. Australia with a quite significant height advantage. The likes of Horvath and Labert there, and Penkovic, and it was one. The back post. Touched there by Horvath. Dimitri's trying to help it on early to Chipperfield, but more pressure from the Japanese as we move into the final minute of the half. Suzuki leaves it beautifully. Matashima, who's a very tricky customer as we've seen already, wins the corner. 56 internationals now for Matashima. See the short corner. 2 Australian players going to close them down though. They don't get too far usually. An opportunity now for Yanagisawa to get the cross, and he lays it off. Deep ball. That will be easy for the goalkeeper. Suzuki offside anyway. 2 minutes of time added on. The new laws stipulated by FIFA for time added on say that for every goal scored there will be 30 seconds, and every substitution there will be 30 seconds. So a chance to really get some exactness about just how much extra time will be played at the end of each half. It's always been one of those grey areas of football. If you're asking me to explain why 2 minutes will be added on when there was only 1 goal in the first half, I can't do that. There were no injuries to speak of, so already perhaps signs that the system isn't working properly. Aloisi chasing. He's had very little service in this first half, and it was just a frustrated shove from him in the back of Matsuda. It's a half-time talk from Frank Farina in which he will most certainly earn his money. A lot to do to get Australia in a stronger position in this game. Seconds to go until the break. Dimitri's, as you can see, in no hurry to take the throw-in. Gisela. Beaten by Labour. Weirman has Casserly out wide as the referee checks his watch. Half-time just seconds away. Well, certainly after a quarter of an hour here, Frank Farina would have been absolutely delighted with the start that his makeshift side and underprepared side has made here in Shizuoka. But Japan slowly took control of the game. Yanagisawa tapped in an easy goal after 19 minutes, and since then it's Japan who have been well and truly on top in this first ever AFC-OFC Challenge Cup match. At half-time, it's Japan 1, Australia 0. Shizuoka for the start of the second half. John Aloisi and David Strilic, the two strikers for Socceroos tonight, have had few and far opportunities in front of goal. The half-time team talk by Frank Farina crucial if the Australian team are to get back into this match. And the quiet first half for the debutant Mark Robinson has seen Con Boutsianis, a new look Con Boutsianis with, I'll say a new haircut, but I'm sure you know what I mean. The replacement for Mark Robinson. Boutsianis can play in a variety of positions. He's played in the centre of midfield a lot of the season for South Melbourne, but he's more well known for his role as a flanker. Scott Chipperfield is still wide on the left, so an early ball from Boutsianis. Searching ball for John Aloisi. Corican wins the ball back for Australia. That's a great ball. Aloisi had time to turn there. I don't think he realised just how much time he did have. It is actually Boutsianis wide on the left-hand side of midfield. On the ball for Australia now. He goes all the way back to goalkeeper Jason Petkovic. Petkovic has had a week's pre-season training before coming into this game, but he's the sort of player I have been told that when he turns up to pre-season training, he's very sharp right from day one. With Tony Franken, the Socceroo goalkeeping coach, also involved at Perth Glory, perhaps that was the key to the Petkovic selection here of the Australian-based goalkeepers. Franken knows him well. He saw him in a week's pre-season and decided that he could do the job at international level despite a lack of matches. That was enough for Frank Farina as Diamichis just plays the ball out. Suda. Oh, that's a great ball. Little touch off from Morishima. Japan still with that free-flowing look about their game that we saw in the first half. But Australia break clear. They've given the ball away, and that's a goal kick. There is a distinct size advantage to this Australian team. Some of the Japanese players are reasonably tall, but they're not very heavy. A commentator gets given all kinds of statistics before an international football game, and one of those is the weights of all of the players, and there's only about 2 or 3 in the entire Japanese squad that are above 74 kilograms. So a huge advantage in that department for Australia, but they haven't been able to really use it in any specific way. Had too many corners in the game so far, the Socceroos. It's not a bad idea, the switch. through to Petkovic. We've seen that a few times from Hattori. He's got a great eye for a long ball. Oh, that's brilliantly done. Japan coming again. This time it's cut out by Horvath. Here they come, they look far sharper at the moment. Pull back, again Horvath there. Well, fine work by Ito. He's a great talent, this young man. He's been in and out of the international picture. I first saw him play back in the Olympics in 1996, where he really ran the Japanese midfield on an evening where they beat the mighty Brazilian team, which included the likes of Ronaldo. Won that game by a 1-0, largely thanks to the performance of Ito. Suzuki! Well, once again, the strike from a natural striker, just one touch, set himself for the shot, and he took it on the half volley. It's just bouncing lightly, just curled it past the post. That was a great try. Once again, Australia guilty of just giving the ball away a little bit cheaply. 6 minutes gone in the second half. Still Japan lead by a 1-0. Laban is beaten in the air by Suzuki. That's a great leap. Women beaten in midfield this time. Diabetes loses out, but he's fouled. I'm sure you're all checking your calendar on a regular basis for the World Cup qualifiers coming up in November. There's still quite a bit of confusion about dates in November for certain games, but what we do know for sure is that the Australia versus France international, which should be a huge event at the MCG, is set for November 11th. Don't miss that one. The South American World Cup qualifiers finish on November the 14th. And somehow between that date and the end of the month, Suzuki comes forward here. Sometime in that 2 or 3 week window, Australia must play 2 games against the 5th World Cup qualifier in South America. That is all less than 3 months away. Hattori, clever ball, great move, super goal Japan. And Toshihiro Hattori carved up the Australian team there with a marvellous move. Well, that's just his 2nd international goal. He took it with real style, and the 50th game for Kawaguchi is looking better and better. Great little give and go there, lovely layoff from Yanagisua, and he just placed it past Petkovic from around 20 metres out. A lot of Australian players there, but none of them could stop the shot and the movement from Hattori. It's 2-0. Taking over. Petkovic with a high clearance up the centre. Corica. Quick feet from him. It's Casserly. Horvath trying to find the feet of Drilic. Japan win the ball back easily, and here they come again. It's Suzuki free down the left-hand side, an early ball in from him. Well, another good move. It was Monashima forward from midfield, trying to get on the end of the cross from Suzuki. The stadium at the moment is talking about the quality of Toshihiro Hattori. It's a real midfield with an attacking zest about it, with Monashima and Hattori. It's nicely played. The ball was aimed for Aloisi's, trying to find some room. Australia almost found a way through, and a shot comes in from Butianis. And it's an Australian corner, is it? Well, Butianis can hit a ball from anywhere. Frank Farina will be hoping, I'm sure, for a free kick at least. So let the now Sydney Football Kings midfielder take it. He's just transferred in the off-season from South Melbourne to the New Zealand club, the Kings. He takes the corner here, and it curled out before it came in. So the introduction of Butianis adds really great flavour to Australia's set pieces now. And that's Nakamura, greatly gifted midfielder who was surprisingly left out today after several months of injury. Volume goes up in the IMCO Stadium. Crowd are buoyant, their team is 2 up. Scoreline for Japan. Oh, the ball was given away in a dangerous situation. Japan have players forward. Suzuki was just trying to prod the ball on, but he drew a handball instead. The Japanese players are saying that it was an intentional handball there from Labour, and that in that case it should be a red card. Just a metre or two off his goal line. Suzuki straight in. Oh! Ball hasn't gone out yet. Petkovic up quickly, to his credit, just punches the ball clearly. But that was an absolute rocket from Suzuki. There was no subtlety here. He just ran at the ball and lashed it at goal. Petkovic, despite the fact he was underneath the ball, couldn't get to it. Such was the pace on the shot. Here comes Japan again. Casserly winning it in the air. Korikat winning it in midfield. Butianis. Casserly, early ball from him was a very good one. Aloisi hasn't had too many chances in this game, and it was great defending by Morioka, as Aloisi just showed him just too much of the ball. Terrific pass by Casserly, though, to pick him out. Philippe Troussier didn't call up Nakata, didn't call up Inamoto, who's recently transferred to Arsenal, nor Shinji Ono, who's just gone to Feyenoord, and Nishizawa, who's now at Bolton Wanderers. The last 3 all moved in the off-season. Also missing is Nanami. Certainly with Butianis on, Australia look like a side that can produce something more when they do go forward. This is Weirman. Flags up for offside. Well, this is the earlier opportunity for John Aloisi. First touch just wasn't quite close enough to his liking, I'm sure, and Morioka recognised that and took a chance by lunging into the tackle. So Steve Labert comes off, Angelo Costanzo takes his place. Just his second international. Angelo Costanzo is possibly signing with Serie C club Trieste. He's been trialling in Europe as well. Has used 2 out of his 3 substitutes. Costanzo, who's played a lot of his career at sweeper, but he's also played a decent chunk in midfield as well, but he's slotted into the back 4 in a direct replacement for Steve Labert. Positive from Chipperfield. Weirman has Casserly going outside him, more promising for Australia. Good cross as well, we've seen that a few times in this game. What a great ball that Luke Casserly can put in from the right hand side. Costanzo's got there, and I guess who are just impeded slightly with the challenge. Corica. Not much room to move there, but Australia do keep the ball. Weirman, Butianis, Chipperfield out wide. Okay, challenging, but Australia keep possession. Well, Weirman just trying to put a little teasing, curling cross in, but it was just too close to the goalkeeper. 17th minute of the second half. If you've just joined us, it's Japan 2, Australia 0. Comprehensive performance from the home side, but just in the last few minutes, Australia have shown a bit of spunk about the way they're going about this game. Casserly goes back to Petkovic. Beautifully and moves the ball on quickly as well. Drums continue to beat as Japan go in search of a 3rd goal. Not to move forward at a particularly fast rate, but here they can now with Nakata. Australia once again defending deep. Nakata again. That's Toda, who's been kept fairly quiet in the centre of midfield and just copped a bit of a challenge there from Weirman for dwelling on the ball a little bit long, and that's a lovely move again. Japan, Petkovic, tight angle, penalty. Yanagisua in the thick of things once again, and a yellow card will be shown for the challenge there to Fausto Diavicis. Australia's first yellow of the game. Diavicis not happy with the decision. Might get to see why looked like there was some contact from Diamichis on the ball. Was there any on the player as well? That's the question that's hard to answer. The decision's been made regardless. While we were just about to be a substitution here, it's Yanagisua is making way for Nakayama. Changes in quick succession here. On comes Nakayama. He's a real hero of Japanese football, Nakayama. 46 internationals this will be now for him. And he comes on to take the penalty. He's got 20 international goals already. A popular choice to take the pen. So Masashi Nakayama for Japan, and he makes it 3-0. Well, he played his part in that goal, Yanagisua. But you have to admire the approach from Nakayama. His first touch. No opportunity to play his way into the game. He takes an international penalty goal and he just drills it past Petkovic for Japan's third. Straight down the centre. Petkovic decided to go to his right. He had to pick one side or another. From an Australian perspective, this match has the same feel about it that the international game last February against Colombia had, in which the players had to travel an awfully long way. It was an under-prepared side. It was a side that were unfamiliar with each other's play and were just finding their feet really together as a unit when they took the park against Colombia. It wasn't a great Australian performance. They were 3 down by this stage of the game, and turned down 3-2, but it was not a great day for Australian football. It's a similar story here today. Similar tale of travel and lack of preparation. In fact, 7 of the team that started today's match started the game against Colombia as well. So there are more similarities there. After the recent performances in the Confederations Cup and also the World Cup qualifiers against New Zealand, I'd say that this performance is significantly lower than what we're used to. Foul on Drilic. And another substitution. As we take another look at the penalty, once again, no subtlety about it whatsoever. Raw power, hit with the laces. It's almost in that situation, if it goes anywhere except straight at the goalkeeper, it's a certain goal. Stays down. Early ball in by Matsuda, and the shot will come in, and so it should as well, from Casey Wehrman. Coming on for his international debut. This is a terrific moment for Sasho Petrovski of the Wollongong Wolves, coming on for John Aloisi. He's a real late bloomer. He's 26 years of age. He's was making his international debut. He said he never gave up hope of being called up for Australia. Very talented, exciting player to watch. Chased at the moment by Danish club Viborg, who've put a couple of offers into Wollongong, but they've knocked them both back so far. This won't do his chances of getting an international contract any harm at all. Sasha Petrovsky, he's got less than 25 minutes to make an impact on this game. This is his first touch in international football. He wins it back. This is Petrovsky. His natural game is one of attacking flair, and it's a clever little back heel, a good cross. Here's Butsianis playing it back over as well. A chance for Australia, and a header that was way off the mark. Chipperfield waiting in the centre. Unmarked. Free header. He'll be disappointed with himself there, Scotty Chipperfield. A player who has scored a host of really outstanding goals in his last two seasons. So it's a forward line now of Petrovsky and Strilic. Midfield of Butsianis, Chipperfield, Wim and Corica. Shortage of ball players there, is it? Waiting to come on for Japan is the number 12, Myojin. Myojin will come on. He will replace Yasuhiro Hato. Yes, left-hand side of midfield. Hato's on the right-hand side. Myojin also plays on the right as well. For Hato, he really has made his impact felt on this game. So less than 18 remaining on the clock here, that's a foul. That we have learned about football here in Japan after the Confederations Cup is that they will fill the stadiums, and the crowd will make a lot of noise and be incredibly enthusiastic. It does augur well for a very exciting World Cup next year. There's a chip over the top, away by Costanzo. It's nicely done. Weirman. Corica. Not much room to move there, but Chipperfield finds some somewhere and is fouled. There have actually already been 15 million tickets to the World Cup, already reserved by Japanese and Korean residents. Butsianis, good ball into the near post. Testing ball as well for the defence, and Matsuda forced to stretch and put the ball away for a corner. Butsianis certainly livening things up from an Australian point of view. Corner to Australia. Matsuda with the header. It will be a throw-in this time. Corica goes short, Vitsianis goes a bit deeper. Castle. Japan pushing forward, Australia forced to go all the way back to Petkovic. From a throw-in, very deep in Japan's half. So good pressing forward by Japan. That's offside. Teams already qualify for next year's World Cup, particularly the African nations, Cameroon, Nigeria, Senegal for the first time, South Africa and Tunisia have already booked their spot at the big football carnival. Obviously the hosts, Korea and Japan, and the winners of the '98 World Cup, France, will be there. Certainly there are plenty of others who look like they've almost certainly booked their place there, like Argentina in the South American section and Italy in Europe. As Japan starts to string some nice passing together and come forward once again. That was a little unconventional, but he got away with it. Horvath, who's had a good solid game at the back for Australia. Corica trying to thread it through for Drilic. Cruising now, Japan. 3-goal buffer. Australian team just starting to tire a little bit. Travelling. Oh, Costanzo battling hard to win that one. I'm just going to say the comparison in the amount of travel that these respective teams have done. Japan, of course, have done next to none, whereas 8 of Australia's starting 11 based overseas from Australia. Steve Corica, of course, based in Japan, the rest from Europe. Well, Nakamura still hopeful of a bit of match time. Well, that's a tackle from behind, and that's a situation that referees don't enjoy. Costanzo there on Nakayama. Toda trying to keep the boys going. Myojin trying to get in the game as a substitute. Shima out wide on the left. Tripoli going past Corica, the ball taken off him by his own teammate Hattori. Well, the whistle hasn't gone yet. The ball's still in play. There's no offsides. Now it's a throw-in. Crowd crying, nip on, nip on. Finally, Australia get possession back with Fausto Diamicis. He got sent off against Japan once, Fausto Diamicis, very early on in a game. Back in 1998, he handled the ball on his own goal line to save a goal. He was given a red card. And Australia went on to lose that match by 3-0. Same as the scoreline today so far. Good ball, and Petkovic takes it on the chest. of a ball. Nice layoff as well from Chipperfield. Diamichis waiting for some options. Here comes Boutsianis. Two South Melbourne boys down the left-hand side. Well, Boutsianis, former South Melbourne, of course. Diamichis perhaps of Huddersfield Town soon. Both have spent a significant part of their careers at the South Melbourne club. Just on 10 minutes to go here in Shizuoka. Japan 3, Australia 0. Field and Drillage not on the same wavelength there. Japan still moving the ball around nicely. This is Hattori. Time for Weirman. Boutsianis hugging that touchline. Intelligently back to Diamichis. Drillage dropping off deep and just switching it to Cassidy. Now Japan can make their final change, and it's Daisuke Oku who's coming on. This will be his 20th international match, so no novice by any stretch. The Japanese director continues to show Nakamura. Well, that's the end of the road for Nakamura. There's no chance of him getting a run now, because that's the third change for Japan with a limit of 3. Morishima is the player to make way. So a midfielder for a midfielder. Oku plays for Jubilo Iwata, who are the runaway leaders in the J-League after the first stage. Japanese season split into 2 halves. Mistake there from Nakata in international football. That's quite astonishing. He just took his eye off the ball. And perhaps a reflection on just how Japan are in their comfort zone in this game. They're 3 up. There's less than 10 minutes to go. Concentration struggling. Suzuki must be handball, surely. Trying to liven things up down the left, and that's offside once again. And he's saying he was just impeded there, Boutsianis. Carter inside. Myojin. Hattori. A lot of space on the edge of the area. Good challenge by Costanzo. It's broken nicely for Japan. This is Toda. Brings the ball left all the way back to Nakata. Hattori. Australia struggling to get near the ball at the moment. This was always going to be the worst part of the game for the Socceroos after the travelling and the lack of match fitness for some of the players. When it's 3 down and the opposition's not giving the ball away, it's real hard yards out there for the Socceroos at the moment. Back in his own defensive third just to get more involved in the game. He's significantly deeper now, as you can see on the ball now. He stands out a mile, David Drilic, with his white ankle bandages. Touch while he was on the ground there from Chipperfield. Corica was coming in. Decision will go in favour of Australia. Petrovsky would like a little bit more of the ball, I'm sure, to really savour the moment in his international debut. But what a tough evening it was, and a tough trip really for Frank Farina. He did say to me this morning that you can't do anything, you've just got to get on with it. Get on with the job of producing a good international performance. It's a wasted free kick, really. He's enjoyed himself tonight, though, Kawaguchi. He always does, really. He seems a really happy chappy. 50 international games now. That's a great notch for any footballer. Less than 4 minutes remaining here at Shizuoka. Nice play, Costanzo. Cassily. Great play there by Petrovsky. Did well to keep the ball. Cassily on the ground to Drilic. Sitting nicely for a shot, but it was well over the bar by Drilic. He's been struggling at club level, David Drilic, with his German club Unterhaching, who last season were relegated to the second division. He hasn't been happy there for some time. With the poor relationship with the coach, he's been coming off the bench in games so far this season. Just nodding it on to Boutsianis. All he could do was help it on as well. Corica. Japan as they come forward, unless they make it themselves with a great little burst like that. And that was great footwork from the substitute Oku. And a yellow card there for Casey Weirman. Getting to his feet very slowly indeed. Remember, he had a 20-hour plus flight yesterday, so he must really be feeling it. Playing in Norway, Weirman, for a club called Moss. Norway starting to become a real breeding ground for Australian footballers. There's almost half a dozen Aussies there now. Clayton Zane paved the way in that particular part of the world. He's currently top scorer in the Norwegian First Division, Clayton Zane, with 15 goals. Can do no wrong there at the moment, so his success there has opened up the eyes of the Norwegian clubs to Australian footballers. Corica still got a bit of spring in the step. Australia are following up this game with another game on the weekend against the Solomon Islands. Most of the European-based players in this squad will go home, and Frank Farina will take the opportunity to add some more local boys, and some of the younger players that are showing great promise as well. The likes of Mark Burns, Ahmed Elrich, Jade North and Wayne Troy, all successful with the Australian under-20 team. And also being touted as possible involvement in that game is Carl Valeri and Brett Holman of the under-17s. It's Japan looking to rise the cake here. Well, Suzuki's gone down. Let's see what happened here. Just laid the ball off there and he clattered into Costanzo. And the shot was tamely wide in the end from Nakayama. Costanzo, to his credit, was just bracing himself against the challenge of Suzuki. Couldn't stop running. So around 2 minutes of time added on. With 6 substitutes used and 2 second-half goals. So I don't want to labour on the point, but it is a little bit of a confusing rule, that one. And Costanzo got his first international yellow card in the process. Good game tonight, the Japanese number 6, Hattori. Waiting for a run. Castley, finally it came, and Corica just played it into the space behind him. Another good cross from Castley. We've seen so many of these the game, and Drilic has got one waiting in the centre. Now here's Butianis, an early ball. Is there a chance of a very late consolation for Australia? Perhaps there is. Butianis, best cross of the ball in Australia, and it's punched away by Kawaguchi. 50 games tonight for the Japanese goalkeeper, and he kept a clean sheet in a very tidy performance from the 2002 World Cup hosts. Their progress in international football is well and truly consistent. The Socceroos, on the other hand, had a really tough time of it tonight, struggling to reach previously reached heights from their last visit to this part of the world. Very trying circumstances for the team and for Frank Farina. But they will put this one down to experience, I'm sure, and move on perhaps to a friendly against Latvia on September the 1st in Europe, yet to be confirmed. But that is the next likely outing for Frank Farina's men. The final score here in Shizuoka: Japan 3, Australia 0.
Yes, Japan too good, and that was the biggest losing margin for the Socceroos in 2 years under Frank Farina. But in fairness, it was a makeshift team up against a top quality opponent. Anyway, if you have a friend who missed the game or want to take another look yourself, there'll be highlights of the Japan-Australia clash in the Asia-Oceania Challenge Cup this Saturday afternoon from 5 p.m. in the World Soccer Programme.